Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the week again, Monday night, 8:30 in the evening. The Third and Long podcast crew are back with you once again. I am your host, Shane Harris. Above me is Oliver Hope, our little baby Hope. To the right of me is the teacher extraordinaire, Mr. Philip Perrins. And in your top right-hand corner, Oliver Butler Henderson. Gentlemen, what a massive week 2 we had. How's things?
Raise your hand if you're 2-0.
Hey!
Oh, and so I thought you said 0 and 2.
How's it going, boys? You all right?
Yeah.
Top of the morning, mate. Top of the freaking morning.
Here's another great week of football. Niners won again, which is always a positive. And this is going to be my last show for a week, though, so I'm not going to be here on Thursdays.
What?
He's on holiday.
Yeah, I'm on holiday.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Ljubljana in Slovenia.
Well, let's be honest now. Phil was in Holland last year, and he managed to chip in, so you can chip in as well.
And I was in Boston
as well.
And I was in Boston Airport. Logan International.
I've already done that from Alcatraz.
Exactly. See, no excuses.
Monsieur Kelly.
So what are we covering first then?
My lovely other half says, hello, Shano. Nice to have you back. She is currently in Birmingham Airport, about to fly to Edinburgh for work.
I guess we're starting with Thursday night, are we not?
Oh, we are.
Oh, let's do that then, lad.
Cheers, Carl. Thank you very much, lad.
Birmingham accent all night now.
We've got two bummies on the show now. Great.
Yeah, can we stop being locally racist and actually focus on Thursday night's game if we could?
It was a great game.
Yes.
It was proper, old-fashioned, smash-mouth, ground and pound football from the Eagles, and honestly, I loved it. Mainly because it was short, so I could go to bed early.
Yes, but Minnesota, you have a serious problem. You've got to be able to learn to run the ball. I've just seen what your name is this week, Phil. I'll cover that in a minute. Yeah, I mean Minnesota have a massive issue, don't they? Unless they run that ball, they aren't going to have anything. You can't rely on Jefferson getting 158 yards but not able to score.
I don't think that's the Vikings' biggest problem.
What do you think their biggest problem is?
I think the Vikings' biggest problem is their entire defense is a mess. I mean, they let DeAndre Swift get 175 yards.
Yeah, but DeAndre Swift's a good running back anyway.
Yeah, he is.
I was going to say he's a good back.
He is, but there was no resistance. It was just run it up the middle every time, and he was getting 5, 6, 7 yards every time.
At least they can run it up the middle. Andre Madison made 28 yards. That was their run game.
Alexander Madison, perhaps.
We all know he was in your fantasy team, Ollie, and he let you down. But
Can I rephrase that? Was
in your fantasy team?
Boys, one thing we did look out for. Jordan Addison scored again. His second game on the spin as a rookie wide receiver to score a touchdown again.
I know we're going to talk about another rookie wide receiver later, but I think he's got to be front-runner for defense for offensive rookie of the year, or maybe Bijan is.
There is about 4 or 5 really good running backs in this league. Or, sorry, rookies that come out into this league on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, we'll talk about 2 more of them a bit later on in the show, but yeah. Jordan Addison, he's obviously scored last week. He had 1 62-yard reception and for a score this week. There's nothing wrong with their passing game. Vikings, their run game, they are 29th in the league after 2 games.
Do you know how many yards they ran for against the Eagles?
29. 28 yards.
28 yards. That's ridiculous.
That is the lowest in an NFL game in modern era.
I mean, wow. They're looking really smart about cut and cook now, aren't they?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I mean, Kirk Cousins, he still threw for 364 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Kirk actually played really well. It was the running game and the defense the defense that looked like the Niners played first half.
Yeah. We'll get to your game in a bit. I mean, it's a messy game. It really is at the moment.
The thing is, I do think the defense will get better because I think they've got one of the best defensive coordinators in the league.
You'll get there. Sorry, food coming in my mouth. It really will get there. I mean, that is the big worry, is the lack of running game. The O-line's got no issues with the pass game because they threw for 364 yards. But they rushed for less than 50 yards last week as well. So there definitely is a run game issue.
Just going back to the defense, I feel like everyone was like, oh, it doesn't matter about the players. They've got Brian Flores. They'll be fine. But the fact of the matter is Brian Flores is a great coach, but he needs to have at least something to work with.
Yeah, there is something. I like Brian Flores. He's a very good. Evening, Drew. Good to have you on the show, my friend.
Of course, you like the guy from the Patriots coaching tree.
No, I think he was wrongly sacked by Miami.
I'm joking.
Really
I'm
wrongly
joking.
sacked by Miami.
I like Flores too.
He did a very, very good job in Miami.
He was wrongly sacked, and I'm not sure. Has the court case been settled yet? If it has, I've missed it.
Pass. I've not seen it either. No. Do we have anything else to say about Thursday night game, Mr. Perrin? You are very quiet. Or as Phil's called you, Derek from Zoolander.
So just a couple of things that are guaranteed in life: death, taxes, Vikings choking. So they were not ever in the history of ever going to have a good year this year because they had a good year last year. So the Vikings have proven that they can get to the playoffs and play really well and look unstoppable, lose, and then they bomb out the next season. This is not a surprise. I agree with you guys. I think there are massive question marks around their defense. Their defense couldn't stop a cold. And as well as Kirk Cousins played, Kirk Cousins always loses in primetime situations.
That's true.
Yeah, that is very true.
So that's not to say like, oh yeah, he had a great game, he threw 4 touchdowns. Yeah, but he still lost. That ultimately means nothing. This is like, I don't know if you saw in the news today about like Dan Marino saying like he would get like 6,000 yards easily if he played in the modern era. Yeah, Dan
we've
Marino
seen that Lay's advert, Dan Marino. No, you wouldn't know how to do.
Yeah, I was saying like Dan. I was gonna say, Dan, you were a great quarterback in your era, but you're still 1-0. You had great stats. You put up some great numbers, but you won nothing. You were literally living in the shadow of Joe Montana throughout the entirety of the 80s. So Kirk Cousins might be putting up good numbers, like Stafford does with the Rams, but unlike Stafford, Cousins will never ever win anything.
On to someone else who's not going to win anything. It's Jimmy Garoppolo in Las Vegas.
Oh, that was just
what a segue.
Vintage Jimmy. That game was vintage Jimmy.
Me and Ollie have said since, well, especially my time on the pod, about our frustrations with Jimmy Garoppolo, and what was the common theme? Jimmy will do enough, but won't ever overly succeed. That Sunday was the prime example of why the 49ers fans wanted to get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. He has no fight. He can be a turnover machine. And again, they massively overpaid for a quarterback that they didn't need.
All this is proving is that any quarterback in San Francisco has an embarrassment of riches, and in Shanahan's scheme can be made to look a lot better than he actually is.
Apart from Trey Lance.
Apart from Trey Lance, because let's face it, he doesn't fit into Shanahan's pocket passer scheme.
Can I say something though?
Oh no! Don't defend Jimmy because his own O-line couldn't defend him.
He did rush for more yards than Josh Jacobs.
Yeah,
Josh
that's
Jacobs
true.
went backwards 2 yards, and Jimmy
the one
went
thing,
forward
right? Two good things about Jimmy Garoppolo. He's a master of the quarterback sneak, and he is terrifyingly still handsome. Like, it's ridiculous how handsome he is. The thing about, just going back onto Trey Lance very, very quickly, I'm just going to put this out to our listeners. I have 2 Trey Lance jerseys that are hanging in my wardrobe. One has been worn. And the other one has the NFL tag still on it because it has never been worn, because I stupidly thought I would never wear it, because I might be able to sell it or frame it in the future. So if anybody,
I'm surprised they're not on eBay already.
Anyone, it's the
It will
75th
be
anniversary
signed
of the
by
49ers one as
our
well.
own Mr. Perrins.
Yeah, so as someone that is actively looking to try and get rid of a few jerseys, if anyone's interested in a prime 75th anniversary of the San Francisco 49ers jersey, with the tag still on, that has Trey Lance, because I bought it the same night that we actually drafted him, please let me know in the chat, and I can make sure that I can send it to you for a premium price.
I already have.
What you could have done, I was going to say, you could have wrapped it up and give it to Waddy for Christmas.
I already have a Trey Lance jersey bought on the day we drafted him.
Yeah, I think me and you did the exact same thing. Exact same thing.
See, I at least waited till Mac got his number before I ordered my Mac one.
The big question was, were you sober? Because I was not.
I was 100% sober.
I don't think Mr. Harris was last night either.
John says, why not sell the jerseys to the Raiders? They'll take anything.
Hey!
You do keep getting the people that we just toss away. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Take all the Niners hand-me-downs.
Did you have a wrestling belt on your shoulder then at one point?
Oh, me?
Yeah, you had something shiny and silver on your shoulder.
No, it's just
something.
Oh,
okay, right. I'm seeing things then.
But I will get one. I should get one.
So the Buffalo.
Maybe the winner of the maybe the winner of the predictions this year gets a title.
Oh yes.
Can we do that?
Yes.
Phil says that after his leading.
He won't be. He's not after this week.
What? Am I not winning?
No, you only got one right this week.
Was it the 49ers?
Oh, shocker!
Yeah, the Buffalo's run attack come back to town. That's 183 yards, 123 then to James Cook. I think we said last year when they drafted him, he was going to be a good running back in the future, didn't he?
I know the Bills' offense exploded, but I'm still not convinced by Josh Allen this year.
No.
I
mean, there's a few interesting throws. If it wasn't for Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs, he probably should have been picked. I'm going to go on about a quarterback who should have been picked a couple of times.
Yeah, he's still through for 3 touchdowns. He had 37 attempts and 31 completions. And as I said, for 3 touchdowns, and he wasn't picked off. So, by his standards, it's an okay game, but it's better than last week.
Although I have noticed he only rushed 3 times. He only had 3 rushing attempts for 7 yards. Are they trying to come on, don't always have to have it on your back now. Let's not put, if it's not there, just throw it away. 31 out of 37 is not exactly throwing it away, but is he trying to, are they trying to change him, calm him down, protect him a bit more now or what? Time will tell. I don't know what's it going to be like after the end of the season. Mr. Harris, as you were with the Ravens flock last night.
Should we just mute ourselves for this
one? I was so hoping both my kids would upset his weekend. So my eldest,
as I said to you before, yeah, go on.
So my eldest is played Shano in the fantasy league and has beaten him soundly, and my youngest is a Bengals fan who soundly got beaten by the Ravens. Carry on.
Thank you. But firstly, my weekend was ruined about 3:45 Saturday afternoon, if you know what I mean. But we don't talk about those things on here anymore.
I just like to put in there. I was at the Bolton games, and even the Bolton fans started singing about how poor Man United are.
Oh mate, we're shite.
Anyway, swiftly moving on, because I don't want to put 50 pence in Phil, because you know what he's like. As soon as he mentioned United, that's the end of it. He won't.
Sorry, we say United. Sorry, United. United. Yeah. Did West Ham play the weekend? Did Leeds play the weekend?
Oxford.
Fantastic.
There we go.
Oxford. Rotherham.
Carry on.
Anyway, so yeah, thank you very much.
Did Dundee play the weekend?
Are you still going?
It's a family show. I don't want to tell you exactly how I feel, Philip.
Second word off.
Yes, something like that. So I had the pleasure yesterday of hanging out with the South and West chapter of the UK Ravens. We're a lovely bunch of boys. We had a great time watching the Bengals game in the Stag and Hounds in Bristol, and it was brilliant. And just to be in the same room as fans of the same team as yours and cheering the first downs and that Geno Stone pick. Funny story about that one. I thought the Bengals were going to score. So I went downstairs and thought, right, I'll have a pint now. And I come back upstairs and one of the boys is sat in the doorway smirking at me. I said, what happened? What happened? So he told me, he said, Geno Stone picked off Burrow and he almost took it for a pick six, but he ran out of gas. And I was over the moon. So yeah, we watched it and we won. I thought it was great. I thought we said no matter what the result was like, I thought we played well anyway. Lamar put up 237 passing yards. The team rushed for 178. You know,
Adam Mason's
See?
coming saying,
Is
yes,
Adam? Yep,
Gino.
he's one of the UK Ravens from last night. Adam, thanks for tuning in. Like I said, we had a great game last night, and to stop the Bengals, who are obviously, goes without saying, a fantastic team, and to put them at 0-2 is hilarious. Zay Flowers again. Zay Flowers, go on, bud.
I've just seen John says no. There's no way there are more Ravens fans.
Unfortunately,
John, yes, John, somebody has to be.
Hey, somehow
I was going to say, John, I was surprised as well.
Your rush game is your main weapon, is it? Despite having drafted Zay Flowers, Odell Beckham, and Mark Andrews and Nelly Aguilar, your main threat is the rush game, isn't it? Still down there.
However,
go on.
I just wanted to say, I think they wanted their rush game to be their biggest threat. However, losing that guy whose name is
Dobbins for the season, J.K.
Dobbins, does that? I'm not sure the rushing game will be your strongest.
I mean, Gus still went for 62 yards.
Lamar,
you're always going to be.
Gus went for 62. Lamar went for 54. Justice Hill went for 41. And there were 37 rushing attempts compared to 33 passing attempts. But Aguilar, Flowers, Andrews, Beckham, Bateman is still even Likely and Duvernay. That's still a pretty good receiving room.
And I said we got Todd Monken now as our new offensive coordinator, and he's changed the offensive side of the team. We're, as already said, we are a predominantly run-first offense. But the fact that they put all these weapons around Lamar now and encourage him to pass more, Zay Flowers is looking like, what do we have in this guy? Honest to God, he's going to be phenomenal. And nice to have Mark Andrews back as well. And you were right, but I didn't doubt you at all. And the fact that nice to have Mark Andrews back and on the score sheet as well. And even one of all these old boys, old Nelly Aguilar, got on the score sheet as well. Fair play, that was a great touchdown.
Mark Andrews has scored 7 touchdowns in his 4 games against the Bengals.
I know. I like to think we got their number. I mean, last year was a bit of a fluke because the team was on their last leg, shall we say. But I think we got their number. And Lamar is 7-1 starting against the Bengals. So then you see it when he wakes up in the morning.
The one thing I would like to say is Joe Burrows still does not look like the Joe Burrows of last season.
And he's gone down again with that calf injury again.
Now he's tweaked his calf again. Is he even going to play week 3?
I wouldn't risk it. I don't know who they got off the top of my head. Funny story is we were watching on Red Zone last night and I saw number 15 scored. I didn't even click it was Nelly. It wasn't until Kelly goes, oh, Nelly's just scored. I was like, has he? I didn't even click it was Aguilar who scored it. I think if it was Zay, I would have gone, yay, I'd have bounced off the walls, but yeah.
Lamar was trying so hard to get Zay to score as well. He was passing to him a lot in the red zone and certain things were happening, plays are being broken up, that sort of thing. But like I said, I was really impressed with him yesterday. And if we can carry this on to Indianapolis next week, 3-0, you never know what might be in the future.
I mean, I think you have a good chance against Indy next week.
I think so too. Apparently, Anthony Richardson is out as well.
Possibly.
Doesn't matter.
You can have your talk about Minshew in a minute, Philip. This was probably the worst game of the night. KC against Jags. Should have bought Noah, and he could have told us all about because they hardly ever showed up on on Red Zone. Mahomes had a couple of picks, but he still managed to get the win on his birthday.
Mahomes had 1 pick.
Sorry, read that the wrong way around.
Two TDs, 1 interception.
Yeah, I read it the wrong way around. All right. Sky Moore with a nice 54-yard run touchdown, and Travis Kelce back after injury as well. There wasn't a lot much else going on there, was it really?
I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but Iron Eagle, when Kelce scored the touchdown, said Kelce finds a blank space in the defense. I think
I
in
did
response,
not hear that.
I think in response to the rumor that he might be dating Taylor Swift.
Well, he called her out on his podcast, didn't he? Because he couldn't get tickets.
Yeah, K Code said, "Let Bias say hello, Shane." He didn't call.
Yeah,
he
my
didn't-
dog's
he-
running past me.
It's he didn't get to meet
Come on,
her.
babe, come and see. Come and see.
He
Look,
went to the
look,
he went to the
come and see,
concert and
look.
couldn't meet her.
come and see.
He wanted to give her his number or something, but she wouldn't meet him after the show. I think it was.
Yeah, madness. Yeah, it was.
K Code has said, "Yay!"
Because he saw the dog.
Yeah.
It's my buddy because he saw the dog.
Jags go to fall to 1-1. I mean, Chiefs are also 1-1.
I mean,
It's probably about right. I think. There was no rush game again. The Jags, don't know. There seems to be a lot of teams struggling with the rush at the moment. With the rush game, not getting the money.
soon
When
enough
they
we'll
go.
be able to watch the Jags playing in England. It's only
2 weeks time, baby.
Jags.
Jags
2 weeks.
Jags
is the
against
first
the
game.
Falcons.
Like I was saying yesterday.
Jags Falcons.
I seen yesterday to the UK Ravens lot I was out with. We were watching, we had Red Zone on my phone as well, just to keep up with fantasy stuff and bets and stuff. And like I said, I think with this Chiefs and Jags game, they're both so good they cancel each other out. That's why the score was so low, really.
Yeah, they're getting better and better. They've got good defensive players on both sides of the ball, which helps. And I think obviously the Chiefs have got a little bit more explosiveness on the offensive side of the ball. Their catching was better this week.
Yes.
No surprise. Yeah. But yeah, it's.
I mean, it'll be hard for that catching a few words in week 1, really.
Yep. Over to the first overtime game of the year. Tannehill's running touchdown. I want to start with.
I want to start with the fact that the Titans actually did something.
I know.
And
that
Ollie
was
actually predicted it.
I did.
They did something all right. They cost me money.
Hey, you're the only one who went Commanders, Shano, so don't worry about that, mate.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it seemed to be a night of the OAP wide receivers coming to town as well. We'll start with Keenan Allen. 2 touchdowns for 111 yards off 8 receptions. Yeah. He had a good game.
It's OAP receivers that wear 13.
Yeah. I saw something earlier. And it said someone needs to get Justin Herbert out of LA because he is not the issue there.
Oh, I think he is the issue there. That's the thing.
27 from 41 for 305
I think he is
yards.
as well.
I think he's the issue there, and I think he's criminally overrated.
Yeah, he's going to have to start. He's going to need to prove it, isn't he? Now, and he's take his team deep into the playoffs.
I don't understand how he got the money that he did when he's not really done anything.
Discuss. I know there's 2 Niner fans who really want to go into this one.
The only thing he's done is choke horribly in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, what was
we've looked at like the
27-3? 27-3?
Yeah.
Phil?
I mean, we've looked at the 3 quarterbacks that got paid big bucks in the off season, and you look at like Jones in New York and go, Jesus Christ, he's not worth that much. Like he's really not, and it reset.
No, we'll talk about the second half in a bit.
I know, but we're just looking at that, and then Joe Burrow. Yes, he's been to 3 championship games in the last 3 years. He's been to a Super Bowl in the last 3 years. But he's massively underperformed, and yeah, he's nursing an injury. How much is that taking his toll? Probably quite a lot. But like Herbert, I've never, like Jones actually, I've never rated him. And it's not trying to sound hipster, it's not trying to sound cool, but like, the Chargers are just kind of irrelevant, like to me. And this is not being like absolute monster, but like, I just don't rate the team, and I don't rate him. So him to get the fat money that he's getting paid, and then not long after Burrows becomes the highest paid quarterback or highest paid player in NFL history, it's raised the bar for mediocrity. Like you said, I never rated him when his first season. I don't think he's ever developed. I don't think he has developed. I kind of do agree with Baby Ollie. I think he is. I think he is the issue. He's the issue in a organization that is an issue. And I don't see. I generally don't see in the other 32 teams, or the other 31 teams, I should say. I don't see him starting. If he goes to any other team, I don't see him start.
I think there's one other glaring issue in Chargers as well as Justin Herbert.
The head coach.
Brandon Staley.
Yeah, I think he's
and he will probably go at the end of the season. He's like,
I think he needs to.
Well, I mean, what's cheaper to get rid of, your head coach or your quarterback that you just spend an obscene amount of money extending?
Well, the correct answer is both. The correct answer is both. But
yeah, but what is the organization going to do?
Give up on the call. Give up on the head coach.
Because you could probably argue only in San Francisco where a quarterback doesn't work, but they get rid of the quarterback instead of the coach. In any other organization, you keep. You get rid of the head coach and keep your quarterback because of how much money you invest into it.
And unless the quarterback's on the rookie deal, that's
but like they've just literally extended him to an obscene amount of money.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is he's only had 3 years experience in the league, so they could have had a couple more years on his rookie deal contract.
Yeah,
no problem at all, and then see where they lie after that season. But he signed $262.5 million contract with a guaranteed of $133 million. For someone who's only been in the league 2 years, he had 3 more years. You could have had him 3 more years on his rookie deal. That's a GM fuck up, or that's a brilliant agent work.
This guy must have talent because he went 6th overall in the draft.
Yeah,
and you don't get picked 6th overall in the draft unless you have some talent.
Jamal Russell went 1st overall, by the way, just to let you know.
Yeah, but Jamarcus Russell had talent.
Yeah.
Jamarcus Russell's the biggest bust in the league.
Yeah, talent beating KFC by the sounds of it, and cheeseburgers and that.
Yeah.
But,
hey, Dilfer got drafted in the 1st round.
Yes,
and we know what happened to him, don't we? So
and he won a Super Bowl. So
he did.
So did Josh Rosen.
No, he was on a team that won a Super Bowl. He didn't win the Super Bowl. He was on a team that won the Super Bowl.
If he's starting quarterback, that's good enough for me.
Oh my God!
I'm not sure how much talent can get you there if you can't read a defense, which I think Justin Herbert is struggling with.
That's basics. That's high school stuff.
I've got something to say about quarterback. I can't read defense in a bit.
Oh yeah. We can move on to Justin Fields in a minute, but
shall we look at Jordan Love, who has sat 2 years behind 4-time MVP, a 2-time, well, probably Super Bowl winning and guaranteed Hall of Fame quarterback. Green Bay have done it again. So Brett Favre sat 2 years behind. I can't remember who it was now. I think it was Starr, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't Bart Starr. Bart Starr was playing in the 60s.
That's what I thought.
Who was it? Who did Brett Favre sit behind then?
I was like, I don't think he was in the league for 30 years.
No, I can't think who it was. And then
doesn't matter.
Did Favre sit? I mean, this is probably before I was born.
Yeah,
Favre came
to
the Falcons.
It's a Green Bay thing. They draft quarterbacks, sit him for a year or two, then go. I mean,
I know Rodgers sat for
3 years.
For 3 years, but I didn't know Favre sat because, like I said, this probably happened before.
Green Bay do this, and this is the model that more teams should take, I think, because Jordan Love is looking really, really good. He played a couple of games last year when Rodgers was injured. And he looked like a deer in headlights. He's got the hand of his offense. He's playing on this offense on his own, and he looked really, really good. I mean, all his throws on point, or 25 of them. Admittedly, 14 of them were connections, 151 yards yesterday for 3 touchdowns. But he is looking a really good quarterback, top 10 style quarterback. And
The weird thing is, I thought Love looked really good and Widder looked poor,
average.
whereas Widder's stats are probably better than Love's because Widder went 19 for 32 for 237 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception. A slightly worse QBR rating though, because Love had 81.7 and Widder had 72.4.
Mr. Perrins.
Sorry, just as a history buff here. Brett Favre was drafted by the Falcons. He lasted a season before Green Bay traded for him, and he sat for one game before he was starting.
Thank you very much.
And
Thank you,
Don Majkowski.
Oh my God! There we go. You looked at Wikipedia too.
God bless the internet, but
Look at you looking to the sky. Go. I believe it was Don Wisnowski.
We're getting shown up by these two. What's going on? Although I'm gonna say something. Luke Musgrave looks a very good tight end as well.
Yes,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I
He was the third or
benched
fourth
him
one off
this
the
week.
board as well.
I benched him on fantasy football this week.
Didn't we say last week that Atlanta Falcons need to start using Drake London and Carl Pitts? They had 12 targets between the two.
They half did that.
Well, they had 12 targets between the two of them, so at least hitting them.
Yeah,
at least
but I
throwing
mean,
to them.
Pitts only got 2 of the 5 targets. Yeah, he only actually caught 2 of the 5 targets. So like,
But at least they're going to him. And I feel gutted for Mark Collins. I seriously think that was an in touchdown.
oh,
At
I'm
the
with
back
you
of
on
the end
that.
zone.
That he got his feet in.
Yeah. As I was saying, if it's the other way round, it's in.
Yeah.
If he's facing outwards, it's in. But because he's that way, it's a stupid thing. And it looks like the shadow. I mean, Keddy was saying this as well last night. It looks like the shadow makes it look like that he's put his foot down, but it hasn't.
I mean, Bijan had a game too. 19 carries for 124 yards.
Yeah,
that's what Bijan does is have a game. It's class.
He is. I mean, I think the Carolina defender's still trying to catch him from last week with that jink inside.
Like I said, I'm a very big fan of Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, I know. Even though you drafted Brian Robinson in the draft.
And then
I was rushing. Okay, I was rushing. I saw B Robinson. And I'm like, I'm taking him. Oh no, I took the wrong one.
I think Kelly had already taken him by the time you got a chance.
I was in work at the time. I was rushing, like I said.
Yeah, you on auto draft. You on auto draft most of it. The funny thing was when you predicted 15-1.
Yeah.
And you're dropping to 0-2.
0-2, good start.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with 0-2 teams. fantasy and real life.
It's a lot nicer to be 2-0 though, which I am in both.
I've actually noticed my mate is watching, who is Atlanta Falcons fan. I wonder if he's going to be at Wembley in a couple of weeks, because he has actually got. I think he's actually got a Pitts jersey, and I wonder if he's going to get a Bijan jersey. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, well, I don't know, Ollie, hopefully this time when the Falcons are in Wembley, you'll actually see the big plays.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know that,
yes,
for the Jets-Falcons game in Wembley a couple of years ago, me and Ollie were sat together. Ollie went for a pint and missed the biggest play of the game.
I want to give.
I can't think of nothing worse. I honestly can't think of nothing worse.
Hey, didn't you do it today with a pick last night? AJ Terrell. AJ Terrell is going to be one of the best cornerbacks in this league.
He already is.
Okay.
This man below me is a defensive end, so he'll appreciate it. I played
according
cornerback.
to Kelly, it was a Coca-Cola, not a beer.
No, it was a beer.
I'm pretty sure it was a beer.
Yes.
His bank balance will tell you it was a beer.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, AJ Terrell he was brilliant. I mean, two passes deflected down. You know, he stopped Dobbs. He stopped who's the other one? Can't think of the other one now. Dante Wicks as well, who seems stepping up for the injured Christian Watson. He had a really good game, and he's going to be a very, very good cornerback in this league, and he's only his second season in the league.
I do think we do need to give a shout out to the Green Bay wide receivers though, because they played well for like young receivers. But why can't AJ Dillon run like 5 yards before like tripping himself up?
He's got Daniel Jones's boots on. Cleats on, so. Should we take on to another overtime game, which was heartbreaking for my daughter upstairs, me and Kelly's daughter upstairs, although she was asleep when this happened.
Have you told her they lost?
Yeah, she lost. She was, well, I didn't tell her. I let Kelly tell her. I forget the game because the game was absolutely brilliant, including the ref telling Geno Smith he was talking to America.
Yeah. 2 questions
Love
about that. How many people do you think are watching, and you're not the president? But
Brilliant.
I know.
talking to American here.
To be fair, you probably think a couple of million are watching it.
I'm talking to American here.
So,
No, you're talking to a very small population. That's a very small proportion of America here.
It's not just America.
However,
Either is it?
he must have been sitting on that line for a long time. Like a long time. Like he's just been like, I just really hope that a player interrupts me. Like I really hope it, just because the way that he prepared, he like, it's like he's had it in his locker for so long. So long. He's just like, I really hope a disgruntled quarterback literally cuts me up.
But I mean, I would like to say 2 things. Number 1, I want to call this episode "I'm Talking to America" here, but I got outvoted. And 2, it wasn't an awful call.
No, it was. I can understand. It was. There was quite a lot of miscommunications. Like, you're meant to be there and you've ended up there. What the hell? So yeah, there was a lot of them going on.
There was a similar call in the Niners game, which I also thought was awful.
Yeah, that was Brock Purdy as well. Threw it into the end zone as well, didn't he?
No, it was
there was no one there.
It was Stafford.
Was it Stafford? It was one of them.
Yeah. And even I'll admit that I think that was a poor call.
Jared Goff needed 44 more passes to take over the lead from passes without interceptions, and then he got picked off.
I would just like to clarify: Jared Goff should not be on a list with Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady ever.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Well, you think that Jared Goff is just as good as Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady?
This Jared Goff deserves to be recognised as a good quarterback in this league. Jared Goff took the LA Rams to the Super Bowl, was in a good team, but he's rejuvenated his career. He looks a much better, much composed, a much more relaxed quarterback under Dan Campbell's offense than he ever did in Sean McVay, with all the glitz and the glamour and the worry and the spotlight on him in LA.
Good quarterback, yes. Future Hall of Fame, potentially greatest of all time quarterback, no.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady are miles and miles and miles ahead of everyone else, no matter what. The only one's probably close to him is Paddy Mahomes.
Don't forget Joe Montana.
I do have a question. There was so much hype going into the season about Jackson Smith and Jigba. Do you think he's struggling? Because over the last 2 games, he had 8 receptions of 47 yards and no touchdowns at all.
I still think he's fully fit after that injury last year.
Don't forget, he's behind DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. He's probably even behind Noah Fent and Will Desley there as a target. So he is behind them. There's very few rookies that are WR1 potential straight away. Very, very, very few. Probably Garrett Wilson's the only one. Jefferson, Jamar Chase. The only ones that are probably guaranteed straight up WR1.
Jerry Rice. Dwight Clark.
Wasn't Dwight
Of the young modern age.
Dwight Clark was a wide receiver, mate.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean that to come across as horrible as it did.
Us 3 for certain.
Us
3 for certain. So me, Ollie, and Phil. Shayna, I'm not discouraging you, but I've never heard you say it. We've said over how many years and weeks on this show that there needs to be better scrutiny on the pass rushes being held. Bosa gets it. Judon gets it. And literally on that touchdown, the game-winning touchdown for Tyler Lockett, Joey Bosa and Hutch was in a headlock. He was literally headlocked, and there was no flag given.
Yeah,
and it's getting a bit silly now because you're going to end up having a 300-pound lineman fall funny on someone who he's got a headlock in and could do some serious damage. They've got to start looking at these holding penalties.
Bosa Bosa actually got 2 holding penalties against the Rams, which is like unheard of.
It needs to be sorted because I'm not saying that the pass would have happened, that Geno Smith would have got it out there to try to lock it and it would have happened. But yeah, this has got to change. It's not good. What do you think? Because I know you've had plenty to say about it, especially on Bosa, because you say it pretty much every week. You get fed up
Yes.
saying Bosa getting hold.
I do. I just before we go on to that, I would like to say how well I thought Sam Laporta played. The rookie tight end.
Yep, good tight end.
But going back to this, they do need to sort out the holding. They either need to make it potentially reviewable in New York, or they need to clarify the rules a bit more and tell the refs to clamp down on it.
Or have another ref at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that probably would work.
Would that be an SJ? Scrimmage judge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like split some of them, split some of the key areas up a little bit more, just so you can actually pay attention to it. Because if it's consistently happening, I mean, there's lots of suspicious things right around judges. I say suspicious, that's the wrong word. Studious decisions that sometimes gets made by the umpires and the refs of the games. But like, yeah, the whole thing about like Bosa has been a consistent problem for the last couple of years. But I thought yesterday in our game in particular, I thought the 2 holding penalties against him were absolutely right. Now I don't know whether or not because Bosa is usually so quick, so powerful that referees miss it. But because he's missed the whole of preseason and all of training camp, he's not quite as up to speed as he would normally. So because he's going at so I don't know whether or not it's because he's going slower because he is slow at the moment. It's making it look more obvious as opposed to when he's coming at you like a freight train and he is being held, but because he's so quick and it happens so quickly, the judges aren't picking it up. But that's just my interpretation of it. But
I mean, the refs missed a holding penalty anyway on Bosa, but I think it's just they have so much to worry about on the play that they just don't pay enough attention to the line of scrimmage.
I do think when it comes to that, as Phil said, it should be reviewable in New York. They always review scoring plays anyway. So why didn't they review it going, that guy's pretty much got Hutch in the headlock here. Why can't we let's look at something else. Let's, holding penalty flag. Okay, 15-yard penalty, whatever it's given.
Or give the head coach an extra challenge flag.
Yeah. And let Belichick take out his pocket and vigorously throw it in front of the referees.
Yeah, I love how Belichick did that. But he waited for the chains to move and the refs to all get ready and then did it.
So nonchalant about it as well. Indianapolis. So we had number 2 pick against the number 4 pick. The number 4 pick absolutely balled out for a quarter and a half until he got taken out of the game with a concussion, scoring a touchdown.
Yeah,
I'm going to let you 3 have your mania and do this.
No, hey mate, I left Anthony Richardson on the bench for Mac Jones, and he still scored more than Mac Jones.
I'm not talking about Anthony Richardson. I'm talking about who came in after that.
He knows. We know who he means, brother.
Go on then, Mr. Perrins.
Go on, bud.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. It doesn't matter if it's in Jacksonville or Philadelphia or in Indianapolis. When those 24-inch pythons come at you, brother, it doesn't matter if it's Anthony Richardson under center or Gardner Minshew II, brother. You just know that Minshew mania is running wild wherever, brother.
When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside, it definitely hurt for the Texans yesterday.
I'll tell you what.
See, this is what happened. For all you wrestling fans out there that also like the NFL, Anthony Richardson, bless his little heartstrings, goes down with a head injury, concussed, and the whole of the Indianapolis sideline, you just feel like an air of like oh, we've lost our quarterback. Like what happened in New York with Aaron Rodgers, our season's over. And Minshew mania sits up, hulks up and goes, that's not going to work for me, brother. I'm going to go in. I'm going to go in, and I'm going to run wild on this offense, and this defense isn't going to know what's hit them because Gardner Minshew is so underrated. It's not even funny. Like, you might think I'm just taking the mick here, but like, as a quarterback, he is actually better than most starting quarterbacks in the NFL. And the fact that he's had to, like, he was starter in Jacksonville. They replaced him with Trevor Lawrence. Okay. He went to Philadelphia. They replaced him with Jalen Hurts. So he's literally had the worst luck going from team to
Can
team
I
to team.
can I
They're
correct
been
you there?
replaced for someone better. What?
He was back at Jalen Hurts anyway. He was never
Yeah.
the starter in never
No,
started.
but like he's gone from
I know what you
Jacksonville
mean,
where he
though.
was a starter. They replaced him. He's gone to Philadelphia to then sit behind Jalen Hurts. Now he's gone to the Colts, and I did say this in preseason. He's gone to the Colts to sit behind a rookie. The rookie's gone down week 2. Minshew Mania is back, Jack. Okay,
Set to run wild once again.
and he's bringing his new world order or his new world offense with him, and he's gonna go too sweet in the end zone.
Okay. Let me just remind you, they were playing the Texans.
Right, don't let facts get in the way of a good story, okay?
Good story.
Because this
They were
is
playing
a
the
comeback.
Texans, and
He looks
will
so
get
good in sky
found
blue.
out.
He looks
He will
so good in
get
sky blue.
he will get found out by Baltimore next week.
I don't think so. I'm calling it now.
I was going to say, let's see how he handles a packed M&T Bank Stadium on a Sunday, dude.
Minshew is just not a good quarterback.
Why is he not Why is he not a good quarterback?
He proved it last year when he flamed out against Dallas.
He had no defense, and Dallas had a really good offensive unit and a defensive unit.
He threw 2
It was
picks.
his second. It was like they did rest a load of players.
Yes.
The Eagles.
Yes.
Okay.
But he will get found out next week, and I'm wanting to put money on that he will throw at least 2 picks again.
Boys, there was a lot of other players that played in that game as well, man. Can we review the game really quickly?
No one cares. No one cares.
Nico Collins Tank Dell with his first NFL touchdown. Tank Dell his first NFL touchdown. Nico Collins, really, really good. CJ Stroud, 30 and 47, 384 yards. That's a pretty good game. Pretty good game, mind you. You know,
NFL star, definitely.
Richardson, for someone, he's 6'4". He's 240 pounds. He's built like a friggin' linebacker. Try stopping that guy. And he's quick. You've got no help. But yeah, CJ Stroud was really, really good as well. They are building. These two teams are very much building franchises. I think India probably a year or two ahead of Texans. But they're going to be there or thereabouts. They are building. They're still a long way behind Jacksonville.
So 1777 memorabilia has just said face purple crying, and then it's NFL football, mates.
It is indeed, pal. It is indeed.
Nah. Okay. Let's go to from 2 quarterbacks or 3 quarterbacks if we're talking about Minshew as well, who are very good quarterbacks, to an average quarterback and a quarterback who is
Minshew's not a good quarterback. Minshew is not a good quarterback.
He's better than these two. Better than Baker and Justin Fields.
I thought you were talking about me and Shane. I'll be like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah, pointing at my screen and pointing at you.
Show it. Yeah, he would be. Like,
no.
Boys, the exercise I get is jumping to conclusions. Come on now.
And stretching the truth.
There you go. There you go.
I said that at school.
That's too sweet, brother.
How long could Chicago with Justin Fields?
The end of the year.
I like Justin Fields. See.
Me too.
Why?
Hold
on. He's not a good quarterback. Oh, he's been found out. Oh. Sorry, I just did my best impression there of not a good quarterback argument. He's not good. I'm really sorry. Justin Fields is not good. And the longer this plays out in Chicago and the NFL, the media of going, oh, but he's a great quarterback. He proved the weekend that he is not a good quarterback.
Apparently the Bears horrible play calling. I do agree
Yeah.
with
And
that. but-
decision making
well.
from the quarterback.
Yes, I do agree with you there. I do like Justin Fields, but I do agree that he probably has been found out and might not be NFL standard.
Yeah.
Justin Fields needs to sit behind someone to learn. Like Zach Wilson, if he had had a full season behind Aaron Rodgers, or 2 seasons, like we all talked about, he would have been good.
Yeah, I agree with this. Fields is hesitant to run the ball now, and he needs to not be. Because if you hesitate
One
in
of
this
his main
NFL,
strengths, yeah, 100%.
He had a
if
rushing
you hesitate in
touchdown.
this NFL, you will get hit.
Yes.
6 sacks, 42 hits yesterday he took. There was one play which I shared on here, and I can't remember which wide end was. So he had a perfect pocket, and there was a wide out in acres of space on the 5
Yeah,
yard
and
line.
there was
5 yard line.
nobody in the same postcode as him, and he tried to run.
Run into 10
Yeah.
300-pound men. He is, if you order Lamar Jackson off Wish.
I was going to say he's a poor man's LJ, 100%.
No, he's literally Trey Lance if Trey Lance was given game time across 3 seasons.
And a fully functioning set of legs.
Yeah.
Oh, this is getting a bit spicy tonight, gentlemen.
By the way, I've got a Trey Lance jersey. If anybody's interested, just DM me later on.
I'll fill a legal sign in for you as well if you want.
As we're talking about Baker Mayfield, I think we all woke up feeling
Make a
dangerous
Mayfield,
today.
him as well.
Feeling dangerous, yeah, baby. I've said this several times. We've said it. A quarterback goes to a team, he feels rejuvenated, he fits in well with the team. AKA Jared Goff in Detroit.
And Tannehill for 3 years.
Rodney Sam Smart said, "There he is, man. Shane is back."
Cheers, Rune. Thanks for popping in.
I mean, Mike Evans had a game.
Mike Evans,
he did.
and he realised he can't run further than 70 yards anymore.
Yeah, he does. He doesn't have the gas anymore, does he?
Still a really
Yeah, he starts
good
coughing after he hits 50. He starts coughing like you, Hendo.
Yeah, man. Oh,
Gets the inhaler out.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, you say that, but he's still younger than all three of you. So
yeah,
No, he's not. I'm
he's
lit.
30.
A minute now.
he's 30.
Hold on.
Being ageist.
Oh, okay, he's younger. All right, so he's only 2 years. He's only 2 years. Okay.
Yeah, mind you.
Like when I was in year 11, he was in year 9. That's practically, we're both doing GCSEs at that point.
I mean,
Oh,
whoever
so
signs him
that
on
makes it
2
the same, does it?
Yeah, absolutely, because we would have both done our GCSEs. Like he would have started, then I would be coming towards the end of them. It's practically the same thing. It's fine.
Another one. I got another quick question. Cole Kmet signed a big deal in the off season, and he's done.
Has been non-existent since.
Exactly. Yeah.
We'll add him to the list of
Do you think
players.
it's a correlation?
Justin Fields
Yeah.
is the problem.
Yeah. Do you think there's a correlation between that? Like they got that bag now, they don't care anymore.
Yep.
Justin Fields is the problem.
So if Baker was able to connect with Mike Evans, they would give the Saints a run for the NFC South. Bucks defense is legit. Yeah,
Yes.
I agree with that.
I
Yeah.
agree with that one.
Nice take. I like that.
I just want to get the stats up because did he connect with Godwin much? Because I feel like
Godwin had 5 receptions from
8 targets for 5 receptions.
Yeah.
that's not too bad.
50
I mean,
yards.
looking at the stats here, Rashad White had a good game too.
Cade Otton had a good game as well. 6 receptions
Yeah.
and 6 targets.
And to answer your question, Shay, Komet did have 4 receptions for 38 yards.
I mean, they have got
Yeah.
a really good defense in Tampa. They've always had a good defense in Tampa. Led by Devin White and Levante David and Shaquille Barnett. They always have, not forgetting Vita Vera as well. They've had that core ever since Brady or even Jameis Winston, who ironically is favourite to be the next Jets starting QB, which is quite funny. They've always had a good
Open a
defense.
bakery in New York by the sounds of things.
So, because even when Jamal Winston threw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions one game, they were still in there. They still were there or thereabouts. So they've always had a good defense, and that's how they build it. They say defense wins championships.
You've really got to look at the Ravens, 2 Super Bowls to prove that statement is true.
Game of the night. What is it about this stadium and teams that have got 28 points on the board and losing? Hey! So the last time a team had 28 points was in the Super Bowl, and that was Atlanta Falcons, and they lost with 31 unanswered points.
I mean,
Poor Matt Ryan doing punditry now as well.
that Falcons team is a lot more talented than this Cardinals team is.
Yes. I would love to know what Brian Dable said to that team at halftime to make them come out like that, because that was a completely and utter different team.
But I would just like to shout out Jalen Hyatt, who had 2 key catches.
2 brilliant catches. That one as well, that 58 one down the middle. Daniel Jones was excellent in that second half. And I mean, absolutely excellent. His stats are completely different. What was he? 60-odd yards in the first half and 250, 260 yards in the second half. He was really good. I would love to see the QB ratings for the match of the two of them.
Kate Goder said, "It was well done defense, boys. You can have the rest of the night off." And
I was going to say, Kate Code messaged me last night mentioning the Cards game.
Saying,
Cards fan.
Giants are a team that quits too easily. They quit last week after the blocked field goal and quit the first half. Possible locker room issues on that team.
Yeah, but I'm gonna counteract that. If there was a locker room issues, they wouldn't have come out like that in the second half. They'd have gone, yeah, go on, then put another 25 points up on us.
But I feel like the Saquon injury could end their season.
So the rumor is it's a normal sprain, not a high ankle sprain. They taped it back up. He was ready to go back out. Yes, there was only like a minute on the clock, but he was wanting to go back out.
Do you think he's going to play Thursday?
I'm going to wait till Tuesday to comment on that one on Thursday's show.
Barkley didn't get paid.
Wait a minute.
Overpaid.
He's right. Shano.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yeah, Phil. The last collapse that happened in that stadium as well was when they had WrestleMania there a few years ago, if you remember that.
Is that the stage collapsing?
Which
No, the collapse of the card. The card was awful. It was Brett's return match, if you remember rightly.
WrestleMania 26.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then go over Zed. That's fine. Then go over Zed.
Yes, it's Arizona.
Saying it was the right decision.
No. What? No. Sorry, I froze. Was it WrestleMania 26?
Yeah.
Right, enough of wrestling.
Never enough.
That was a banging card, mate. What are you talking about?
James Conner.
Brett.
I'm going to mute them too.
Okay.
James Conner. If you've picked him up in your fantasy team, you've got a stud. Because I noticed he went quite late in a lot of drafts I was in. I picked him up 2 or 3 times as well, like the 8th or 9th round. And he's RB1 there. He's 106 yards and a touchdown yesterday. He did more than Barkley.
Barkley got more touchdowns though, didn't he?
Yeah, true. Including that one that dived to the post. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Is this Giants season turning around?
No, they'll get
yes,
ended by the Niners on Thursday. They'll get ended by the Niners on Thursday.
Got you lot on Thursday, has he? Should we say?
Yeah, they're going to go 1-2 guaranteed.
Hey, go on then, you two. Have a chat.
Phil, you can go first.
Before you do, just to let everybody know, if you want to go and pick a kettle on now, you can do. You've got at least 10 minutes.
And Phil's got a Trey Lance jersey for sale as well, if anyone wants it.
I thought, yeah, if anybody wants a Trey Lance jersey, please let me know in the comment section below, or alternatively find me on Twitter at Mr. Perrins, or if you can find me on Facebook as well, it's just Phil Perrins, and or just contact me on the Twitter feed and the Instagram feed and the YouTube comment section below for any details on that Trey Lance limited edition rare jersey going for premium line.
Can we go back to the football?
No, you gave. Sorry, I am talking about football. I'm literally talking about football.
You can go first, Phil. Say your thoughts about the game.
I thought that Jake Moody is legitimately my player of the week, and I think he is going to be MVP for kickers this year. And I thought that we kind of allowed the Rams to play up until halftime, when I think Wilkes just went, no, we're going to shut that down now, and we're actually going to try. Bosa looks completely off the pace, and I think our whole D line did not perform particularly well. Our secondary is actually a joke, and it's going to become very, very concerning when we start playing against some pass-heavy teams, like when we play. Who are we playing in the future? Oh, when we play the Cowboys in Week 5. I'm very, very worried about that game. But Brock Purdy, we have to remember that Brock Purdy's only really in his second year. I thought he played well. Did he play outstanding? No, he probably had a B-level game. He missed a couple of key passes. Probably would have.
He missed a lot of long open passes.
By half time.
Only 3.
But other than that, I generally at no point during that game thought the Rams were going to win.
Okay, so
yes, but he only did it 3 times, like 3 big plays. But all right. He made 3 misses on plays, but at the same time, the biggest criticism that all I've heard from Brock Purdy since taking over as starting quarterback is, he's not got the big arm, he can't make the big throws. Well, he overthrew them, so he can make the big throws. He's a little bit off pace, but I didn't think Brock Purdy played that bad. I don't understand why they're criticizing heavily. He scored a touchdown. CMC looks unstoppable. We have a stacked team, and the defense shut them out more or less in the second half. So is that the MVP kicker Tucker? Quickly, no, it's Moody.
In response to Adam's MVP kicker Tucker, didn't Tucker miss a 50? Didn't Tucker miss a 50-odd yarder on Sunday?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Even the best make mistakes sometimes. But come on, 59 yards. Come on.
Yeah, Jake Moody drove a 59-yarder though.
It's 57.
As I said, but even the best make mistakes sometimes.
ESPN got 57 yards long yesterday.
Oh, was it 57?
Anyway, 59 yards is a chip shot for Tucker, isn't it? He didn't 66.
Yeah.
66.
As 777 Mobility said, he missed some throws, but it's a 7th regular season game. And Bosa looked poor in the first half, but in the second half, Bosa was starting to get some pressure. I mean, I think it was the second interception. He was in Stafford's face when Demo picked him off.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't.
And the team is 7-0 when Purdy starts in the off season, and now we're 9-0 against the Rams in the off season. Sorry, in the regular season.
LA Rams have 2 studs, possibly 3.
Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams.
Cooper Kupp when he's fit.
And Kupp,
it was sort of a bit not insulting, but worrying in the first half. They were getting dominated with people's names like Puka, Tutu, and Kyron.
Can we just highlight 1777 memorabilia, please? Because this is what we have to take into context. It's just been like being the 242nd pick and being dropped into that pressure, starting for the 49ers, the world famous San Francisco 49ers, and being able to handle it is huge. Yeah, he's still in his developmental stage, and he will improve on that. Yeah, I think that we made the Rams look better than they probably were. They exploited our secondary because Ambry Thomas is an actual joke, and it's terrifying how easy it was for them to get at our corners. I think Travaris Ward probably had the worst game I think I've seen him play for San Francisco since he played for Chiefs last year. And
Debo was okay.
Yeah, Debo is Debo though, but Debo.
Demo.
Oh, if we said Debo, sorry.
No, Demo.
Oh yeah, Lenore. I actually quite like Isaiah Oliver as well. I think he should be playing a little bit more.
He made 3 key plays.
And Fred Warner, early defensive MVP candidate.
Fred Warner must be in the running for DPOY this year.
Fred Warner is gently overtaking how much I love Patrick Willis.
And now says he has ingredients to be the next / Brady and Patriots, and with the storyline. Still talking about Brady.
Yeah, but we don't.
I think it's a bit too early for that though.
Yeah, let's compare him to Steve Young and Joe Montana instead. Let's give him real pressure to live up to.
Let's roll on to New York and Dallas.
Why? We're having so much fun in the Bay. or
Exactly.
SoFi.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yep.
The stadium was red.
I
It's
know.
meant to be a
With
Rams
spots
I
home
red.
said
game.
that last night. I said that
Everywhere
last
we
night.
Stadium was
go,
red.
everywhere we go, people wanna know. People wanna
Oh,
know
God.
who.
Thank you.
Thank
we
you.
are. So we tell
Right.
them. So
New York.
we tell them.
Um,
We
it was
are the
always going to be
Niners.
tough. Shut up.
The mighty.
It was always going to be tough for Zach, isn't it, this week? It really,
Yeah,
really
yeah,
was.
100%.
But yeah, that Dallas defense. Where's that Dallas defense suddenly appeared from? Seriously, Dallas defense has come from nowhere. It's ridiculous. I mean, they got Zach
It's the
19
Cowboys, like I
times.
said. Yeah, I think I don't understand where the Cowboys where they've come from. They- They're not a team full of stars like the Niners or the Bills or even the
And,
Bengals.
I'm sorry.
They just come from nowhere. They're 2-0.
Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard, C.D. Lamb,
Stephon
Yeah.
Gilmore, Mika
Stephon Gilmore,
Parsons,
Mika Parsons,
Malik
Leighton
Hooker,
Vander Esch. How is that not a
Dante
team of
Fowler.
stars?
Boys, you could do that with the Bengals. Say the same thing about the
Yeah.
Bengals. Say the same thing about the Bills. You know, they basically
they're
put up
all-
70 points over 2 games.
Yeah, but you just named a load of other teams as stars.
Yeah, and they are faltering. So as I said, what's the difference? Coaching, the culture, possibly.
No,
I think
because
the
Mike
culture is a
McCarthy
big
is
one.
not a good coach. It's
It is. I
definitely
think
not.
it definitely is culture. I'm a bit worried where Mr. Perrins has gone. It is. I think it is culture. There seems to be a shift now, and maybe Ezekiel's a bad apple. Dak looks better now.
C.D. Lamb, 11 receptions for 143 yards.
He's
And,
a really good player.
but no TDs.
Yeah, but he had Sauce Gardner on toast,
Yeah, he did.
and Sauce Gardner is meant to be the number one shutout corner in the league, and he had him on toast.
Adam Mason's coming in saying Dallas D is legit and have been building for a bit, and he's not wrong there. Parsons looks incredible.
Parsons will be DPOY.
No, Fred Warner will be DPOY, but Parsons will
Yeah.
be close.
Imagine thinking Parsons going to beat
5 on
Warner.
it.
I mean, come on.
5 on it.
No.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, then
Listen,
5
boys,
on it.
if there's one thing,
Figure out
if there's
then.
one thing I know about this making odds, come on now.
Go on then. Go on then, Mr. Perrins.
Yeah,
My
okay, I'll
hands
do
there
that.
ready for you to shake on it.
Stick a fiver on it.
Shaking something, mate. I'll shake something.
Hey. Yeah. I mean, even Tony Pollard. We said, didn't we, that Tony Pollard they won't miss Zeke because of Tony Pollard.
Yeah, I mean, Ollie, you've been banging on for the last 3 seasons about how good Tony Pollard is.
Yeah, he's a stud of a running back. I've taken him a couple of times. I didn't get a chance to take him in the main to my main drafts this year, but
Did you not get him in the Gay Adams Appreciation League either?
No, I didn't. Someone kept him as a keeper last year, and it's like, you absolute bastard.
And I'd just like to point out in the league, in the Dynasty League, me and Ollie are in. I've gone to 2-0, and a certain him is 0-2.
Yep. Never mind. Hail Mary's almost paid off in Denver last night.
It just makes it so much better that they then didn't get the 2-point conversion. It just makes it so much better. So I just like to clarify. So when this happened, I was watching Football Nights in America.
Yep.
And Devin McCourty really enjoyed the defending for the Hail Mary.
I do want to talk about a player who got ejected, and rightly bloody so. The cornerback Jackson, who absolutely wiped out the tight end Logan Thomas with a nasty helmet-to-helmet hit.
I've not seen the hits.
So it's Logan Thomas tight end. It was about 7 years late, and it was going back to the headhunting days.
The targeting days.
Saints days, Sean Payton days.
I mean, it's Sean Payton is the coach.
Yeah, it was a nasty late hit. It was unneeded. You've been really high on Sam Howell. You were high on him coming out, and I think he
Yes.
proved it yesterday.
Yeah, somehow played well yesterday.
Stepped up well in the pocket, moved the pocket around well.
I know he got sacked 4 times, but I don't think many of them were his fault.
Okay.
But I mean, 27 for 39, 299 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. It's not bad.
Chase Young got a sack.
Chase Young is back.
He got a sack and a half. Well, technically a sack and a half, and a tackle for loss. Chase Young has been out for 18 months, so it's nice to see him back.
Are the Commanders legit? Do they deserve their 2-0, or do you think it's just been lucky fixtures?
Lucky fixtures.
Yeah,
6-1, 6-1, half a dozen another.
I don't rate them.
Okay. On me.
So let's put it this way: they were 21 points down.
Against a poor Denver team.
Agreed, on a poor Denver team, but a Denver team that's got Russell Wilson, Jerry Jeudy, P. Ryan, Melvin Mims, Cortland Sutherland, Javonte Williams. There's some very good offensive players on that side, and their defensive side as well isn't bad as well. I mean, Patrick Surtain and Jossie Jewell. That's some really good defensive players.
Those 2 bombs to Mims from Wilson were nice throws, though.
They were, and how good is Mims? So quick. I think you were a bit high on Mims when you going into the draft, Mr. Perrins.
I was. I thought it was quite good.
He seems that he would have been fitting nice in San Francisco. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm pretty happy with Ronnie Bell there, to be honest.
I don't really want to talk about.
We'll soon see how much of a if it is lucky fixtures or if it is the hype when they play Buffalo on Sunday.
Yeah, come on, let's move on to this game. I want to talk about this game.
So I shared something in the group earlier, and I'll put it on our social data one with the amount of time in the pocket that quarterbacks have. The least quarterbacks the least time my team's and Shano's team. Difference is Shano's
that's just because Lamar runs out of the pocket as soon as he gets the ball.
Yeah, there's that as well. New England seem to have a problem with slowing. Really started in a minute. They don't seem to turn up until literally the last quarter, which is a nightmare.
Mostert had a game last night.
Mostert had a great game, 121 yards off 18 carries with 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns.
Including a walkthrough. Tua was lucky not to pick off 2 more times.
And the throw that he did get picked off of, which was a great catch by Gonzo, I'll give you that. It was a poor throw.
It was.
It was literally I'll put it up there because Tyreek Hill's somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah.
And
hey, at least Tyreek Hill tried to challenge it. Unlike
17-7 has said the Patriots are the best 0-2 team. They've run out of times in the last 2 weeks, which again because they start slowly.
So yeah,
on paper no, but in practice yes.
Last week was Booty not dragging his feet, and last night was Cole Strange, and We've had a bit of discussion about this, me and Ollie, over the day. We had a discussion about a couple of things in this game, actually. So he said the referee said it shouldn't be, but he also said it shouldn't be overturned because it's an open field, meaning it's not a solid line; it's on the hashes. So like the 1, 2, 3, 4. So it shouldn't have been overturned. It should have been given as a Cole Strange making the first down.
You need to talk about the play you're talking about.
So the last play of the game, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it was on a 4th down. Mac rolled out, played it to, I want to say, Gesicki, who was literally just short at arm strength.
It was Gesicki.
Was about to get pulled down, lateraled it to Cole Strange, who did a good job catching it. Actually, got nicely off the ground for a big guy. I was impressed. And then went through. And then had 3 or 4 guys push him over the line. He did make the line as got in the game. And they went down, and it was literally about an inch short. Apparently, marked it, but I don't think they marked it right. I reckon they marked it wrong, and I don't think that's where the ball finished. I think if you look at the video, he actually crossed the line. The ball crossed the line. It's another review. I don't think that was the one that Belichick reviewed. I can't remember.
No, it wasn't.
But yeah, there was that one then, and then you've had a discussion about the Hunter Henry touchdown. You don't like it.
No. So the rule is that you can't catch a pass if you've engaged in a block over a yard in front of the line of scrimmage. And I think Henry was clearly a yard in front of the line of scrimmage and then rolled out and took the catch. So I don't think the touchdown should have stood.
I don't know if it's the same if the running back, the quarterback leaves the pocket because then he comes a runner, and I don't think it's the same. Mac didn't cross the line of scrimmage. Mac's movement and pocket pleasant last night was excellent, despite getting hit 31 times. This is how bad our own line is in a minute. Yes, Cole Strange's first game back, David Andrews, but three of our other starting linemen were out last night, which doesn't help. But yeah, I'm not fully sure of the role. I thought as the runners, the wide cornerbacks come out of the pockets, the rules change.
I thought the quarterback didn't become a runner until he crossed the line of scrimmage.
I think as soon as he's come out of the pocket, because he was literally pretty much on the sideline when he threw the ball.
Yeah,
But
he was.
if anyone knows that rule, drop us on a line on a postcard and we'll read that in about 20 weeks' time when the post gets to us. It's fine. I'm not convinced of Tua. I did think last week was a fluke, 466 yards against a Chargers defense, which had let Tennessee put 27 points against them.
I mean, excluding the interception, I thought Tua played quite well.
He was lucky not to get picked off by Duggar. That was a bad throw, but that was also a very good defensive play.
Yeah.
And there was another one as well that was literally, it was nearer a defender than it was Jalen Waddle. I think it was. It could have been Brandon Braxton Barriers, who had a very good game on his return to as well. But yeah, Ahmed had a good game as well.
Yeah, I mean, I said earlier that the not quality of rushing, but Mostert and Ahmed compared to Stevenson and Elliott was sort of the difference in the game.
I've noticed something though. A lot of teams that are doing the QB sneak have adopted the Eagles' approach to it. Two men behind it, one player on each cheek, and push the QB over the line.
The tush push.
Yeah. I've noticed more teams because Mac had that 3 times yesterday.
Yes.
Literally his arse pushed over the line, which is quite funny. 7-7 Millibili, is he right? Is he Patriots the best 0-2 team?
Yes. I can't think of many of the other 0-2 teams, but the ones I can think of off the top of my head, yes.
So
Bengals being one of them, being the most
actually, maybe the Bengals are.
Bengals, Vikings.
Okay, no, they're not.
So
Bengals are.
Bengals, Vikings, Bears, Chargers.
Chargers.
Excuse me.
Bengals, Chargers. You could argue Vikings.
Oh no, I reckon the Texans are pretty good. Texans are better than the
what? Darts.
Right. It's an hour and 20 minutes into the show now, and we've got Monday Night Football to cover.
And it's a double header tonight.
I know. Do you know what? I've got a confession to make. I was running the Third and Long official Facebook page today, and I only thought it was one game tonight. I only thought it was the Browns and the Steelers. Somebody actually corrected me. I believe his name was Thomas Shaw. Thank you, Tom. Greatly appreciated. And I had to add the Saints and Panthers there as well.
Ex-host Thomas Shaw.
The original.
Sorry, Tom. In which case, I'm not doing your seat justice.
Just before we get into the games, I really don't like the fact that it's a doubleheader, especially considering they're on at the same time.
Yeah,
but
there's a doubleheader next week as well.
Is it?
Oh my God.
One of them's Eagles Bucks. Yeah, I mean they're not. I mean they're two divisional matchups. I think Shano's division, the Browns and the Steelers are probably the better of the two games.
Yeah,
I'd say so too.
It's going to be...
Neither of them are that good in the game, really, are they?
No, there's nothing singing about saying. just for shits and giggles, who are we going for?
Browns, because F those horrible towel swinging studs. Yeah, I
Second
said
that
it
one.
worked.
And
Yeah,
the other game,
I
Browns
want to
and
go Browns.
Saints.
No. Browns and
Mr.
Saints.
Pope?
Browns
Yeah.
and Saints.
Browns and Saints. Are you unanimous, Ollie?
Yeah, I'm going to jump on the bandwagon and go Browns and Saints. Browns do look better. Deshaun Watson had a full preseason, had a few games under his belt. Starting to look a bit more like Deshaun Watson now, and it's
But
sure.
Browns have lost 19 games in a row at Pittsburgh.
Well, let's hope that they snap that streak tonight.
I thought they won a game to beat Pittsburgh to the playoffs.
Yeah, but
They might have been at home.
Was that not at Cleveland?
I was home, yeah, because they made them look stupid in that game as well. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Interesting. Okay. As per usual, this show will be on Spotify tomorrow morning about 8:30. And we will be back live on Thursday with our Player of the Week, and Rookie of the Week predictions and preview of this week or week 3 of
However,
football.
I will give my apologies now for not being on Thursday night show.
Someone's gallivanting off again.
It's going to say don't apologize.
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you for very, 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 very much for joining in. We will see you Thursday night, 8:30, live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whatever you follow us off. Ladies and gentlemen, good night. Stay safe.
Ollie, do we get paid time?